Herbivore. What up, my glib globs? How's everyone doing? Thanks for joining me for this unscheduled live stream. Aslan's in the hizzy. You win the internet today. Joe King, IRL. First soy minoid. James Rogers is here. Emmanuel. Not really sure what that's meant to say, but there you go. Little laxative. Where can I buy this track? It's not for sale. It's not for sale. Van Cochran, good to see you. Julia, I let my big brother, he was all macho, try a vegan burger, Morningstar, and mentioned no one died for it. He said it was pretty good. He said nobody died for this either, just a cow. What would you say? I would say, like, does it make it easier for you to pay for people to kill others if you consider them more like an object, like not as a individual, a being with hopes and dreams who runs from violence, who screams under the knife just like we do, for you not to grant them personage in your mind? Is that the reason why? Because it makes it easier for you to pay for animal abuse? That would be my answer. His argument against veganism, they're just animals. Humans are just animals. We're primates. We're hairless apes. So he doesn't mind if I kill him and eat him then. Good. one less meat. I'm just kidding. Dan, Sergeant Dan, how you doing, squad? Oak. No, that's not for me. Hello to you, though. Macaroni Delta in the hizzy. Kieran Forrest. What's up, sir, lads? Dana Restal, good to see you again. Beep, beep, boop, beep. Good to see you guys. Wow, Dan, you kind soul. $10 on the super chats. The wife and I are absolutely loving the new book. Great work, Paul and Gemma. Well, thanks for buying the book, and thanks for donating money to tell us that you like the book. You are a very, very kind soul. We really appreciate you. If it's not for people like yourself, I wouldn't be able to sit here telling people that eating animals makes them a complete bellend. So, very appreciative, Dan. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying the book. Yeah, some people are telling us that they think this is our best one yet. And to be honest, I can't really take a lot of the credit because that was 99.9% recurring Gemma's work, I think. And the very talented Mrs. Goji, man. Yeah. Emma Hammett. Moneybags, skimmers, yeah, mate. I just watched your new vlog. Nice, any ice cream recipes in the cookbook? Is there an ice cream recipe in the cookbook, Jim? No. Oh, we've got a video with like 3 or 4 on, haven't we, Jim?
Yeah, one had like matcha and it was green. One had some sort of nut butter and it was all rich and like chocolatey. Yeah,
there was like a chocolate one with cocoa powder and a nut butter. Yeah, matcha one. I think we had a sauce for that, which was like a date syrup with some walnuts. Oh, that was super delicious. Yeah, there's 3 or 4 recipes in one video on the channel. If you search Hench Herbivore ice cream recipes, you ought to find that, all right? And that'll be completely free. But do buy our cookbook. It's great. Star Cradle in the house. Emmanuel, how did the workout go today? Thank you for asking, sir. What was I doing today? It was arms. It was biceps and triceps. I've got a bit of a shoulder impingement. I started gaining blinking vegan diets. I started gaining too quickly on my presses. And because I'm kind of near my, well, I'm not really. I'm kind of at about my potential on most lifts, except for my chest and shoulder presses. But I was like gaining very quickly on them. I just upped my calories a little bit, changed my training style back to once a week on each body part. Bro style, which supposedly doesn't work, as opposed to the science which says you should train all your muscles 2 to 3 times a week. Well, the minute I stopped that, I started gaining a lot quicker. Unfortunately, too quick, and I've hurt my shoulder. So I've had to find exercises that don't tweak it. So a few things were out. Anything like overhead seemed to be out. And I like doing overhead work for the triceps. But instead, I put my shoulder in extension. I had my elbows behind my body. I was doing kind of press downs. What else did I do? Laying on a bench and then reverse grip press downs facing away from the pulley. What else did I... Oh, and just a standard press down. And I found those didn't hurt my shoulder, but I got a massive pump. Like, great workout. Biceps blowing up. I've started to put a really isolated biceps move at the start. I was doing easy bar curls. And I think you can get so much body movement into those. And I remember Dorian Yates used to really put like something like a concentration curl, some kind of curl where you're kind of forced to maintain great form and all the emphasis is on the biceps rather than, being able to cheat it up. So I put a machine preacher at the start there. And because I put it first in the workout, I was pretty bloody strong on it. I had 40 kilos on there, which is pretty respectable really for like a strict curl. And I did some incline dumbbells and I did some dumbbell hammer curls, drop sets on the end of each, the last exercise for each body part. So yeah, my biceps, my triceps were toast. And then I did some reverse wrist curls because this muscle is well ahead of most of my other muscles. And I was finding when I was doing side lateral raises, my shoulders could handle the weight, but I was getting a bad like shear stress through the wrist, which was hurting. So I thought, well, I'll train that up. I mean, my upper forearms are pretty bloody good as well. But Yeah, so I just did about 6 sets of reverse wrist curls to failure, and then I did a couple of drop sets on the end of the last one. And what I find for wrist curls is if you have your elbows elevated, so I basically sit on this seat which is high enough that my legs are at this angle, and so at the apex of my movement, I'm kind of fighting gravity rather than kind of resting, if you see how that works. So the strength curve is better. Curve, not curb. So yeah, my arms were blowing up. They were sore. They were sort of hard to use. And yeah, I feel like next week I'll have some much bigger arms. So that was a bit of detail there, was it? Probably more than you wanted. That'll teach you. So, hi Julia. So Julia's saying about her brother Hunt. He's in the military. You know, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. I was the worst person. I was a doorman, and I was a violent man. I wasn't like a hard man as such. I was very weedy growing up, and I did all these fighting arts and lifted weights, and then got into taking steroids out of fear because I didn't want to get hurt, and then ended up getting a job as a doorman. And I mean, I wasn't a bully. I would only deal with people if like they needed dealing with. Like I wouldn't pick on someone, but I'm sorry to say that I got to the point where I used to enjoy fighting. It became like my adrenaline sport because I was so scared of it for so long, and then I championed it, and then I enjoyed the feeling of the adrenaline and sort of pushing your, physically dominating people and like, or at least intimidating them. And, I look back now and I feel really ashamed, but that's young men for you. That's what society kind of like almost gears you up for. It's a lot of, it's insecurity. It's not toughness. It's insecurity. So happily I grew out of that. But, and I just saw, wow, if I don't, where was I going to go with that? I'm going down another tack. Just if I can see the harm and repent, anyone can. Anyone can. Do you know what I mean? We're not the same person from one day to the next. And he probably feels now like he would never be vegan. But if you look at Corinne Sutton, bodybuilder out in Florida, he went vegan after seeing the worst violence. He did a tour of Iraq, and he saw, his friends getting blown to pieces, and that turned him vegan. He just became disgusted at violence and just saw that it was wrong on all levels. So, yeah. And in fact, the Game Changers movie, James Wilkes, he is actually working with some US Army folks, teaching them all about a plant-based diet and how it benefits human performance. So, watch this space. And don't lose hope. Arsenal fan, is it possible to get your size on a whole foods plant-based diet in hard training? Yeah, I mean, it's probably a little more difficult to get the percentage of protein that you want, because most whole foods sources of food come with a mixture of macros. I'm not saying it's impossible, but with plant foods, it's more easy to get like more really high percentage protein foods and low carbs, low fat. Whole foods vegan sources tend to come with some protein, some carbs, some fat, or at least a lot of carbs and some protein, or a lot of fat and some protein. I'm sure if you had it in balance, you could do it on all whole foods. But I say, but particularly because you need to eat so many calories, if you're a larger person, I would say like the judicious use of 1 or 2 servings of a more processed protein food, vegan product, is going to help you, and may aid your gains, may make it a bit easier for you. I'm not saying it's impossible without, but it would make it easier, particularly in terms of if you use 1 or 2 protein shakes, you can then, it's less volume. If you need to eat a lot of calories, I need to eat like 5,000 calories. So to do that completely on whole plant foods may be a little much. But as far as you can, obviously, it's the healthier way to go. So that's what I would recommend. Nice, Julia. Oh, Joe, where's Gems? How dare she not be here? So we're moving on Tuesday next week. So she's kind of getting the place ready, packing some stuff, doing some cleaning, stuff we need to do, touching up a bit of paint and stuff, probably stuff I ought to be doing. But yeah, she's amazing. So yeah, I could be on here, earning the dollar. Keep her in the style she's accustomed to. Arsenal fan. I'm 6'5", want to get to around £250. Yeah, so I'm not far off that now. 10% body fat. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you probably can do it. Probably a little easier if you do leverage like 1 or 2 scoops of protein powder or a serving of seitan, TVP. I mean, it's not so bad on the scale of things. You may as well, depending on how many calories you need, you may find it more efficacious to leverage a bit more overt fat sources, so a bit higher in nuts, seeds, whole nut and seed butters, avocados. Then, typically I say like lower fat is probably healthier, which it probably is if you look at the data. But as long as you're eating the healthier fats, shouldn't be too bad on the scale of things. Certainly a lot healthier than what you can do as an omnivorous bodybuilder. Taylor, who was first to go vegan? Gemma. Specifically, she went whole foods plant-based for health reasons. And then I saw the data and I thought that might be pertinent to follow. So I was worried about my muscle gains, but it was nothing but a benefit to my sports performance. So so glad I did it. Nice cream at macaroni dollar. That's the stuff. Wind Waker. Hi, Paul. Fermented products don't need to contain salt. Crazy. I've never enjoyed sitting on the same line. Self-made. Cashew quark. Interesting. Yeah, you don't need to add it. Companies just add it for taste, don't they? So, yeah, that's very true. And I'm glad you're having some nice poos. Jeff Carter. I'm currently 23, 6'3", 210. Right to bulk up to a 230, 240. When you say that weight is not optimal for health, is it due to potential heart disease risk or joint issue? Not heart disease risk unless you are eating animal products or coconut oil, palm kernel oil, cocoa butter. If you're eating healthy whole plant foods, it's not like a heart disease risk. It's not great for your joints, but really I'm thinking more in terms of longevity of the body, like your cells. And when you eat a lot of calories, like you oxidative stress takes place in the body and it's aging. And so the longest lived people tend to eat a little less than average, then not even average, then is like, what do we say? Like about 2,500 calories for a male, 2,000 for a female on average. They're eating a little less than that. There's certainly benefits to, like fasting as well, intermittent fasting. Much more anti-cancer. Great question. Tyleek Katzbeck. What a great name. How are you doing, Tyleek? Thanks for joining. Do you take fish omega 369? No, I'm vegan. So it's only omega-3 that you're after from fish, specifically DHA or EPA DHA, the long-chain omega-3. You can get it from ground flax, ground chia, walnuts, hemp hearts, some other greens. It's in some other vegan foods as well. There's a strange Amazonian seed. What is that called? Sacha inchi, which is high in omega-3. Omega-6 is just ubiquitous. Like there's so much of it about. That's a non-issue. Omega-9 is non-essential. It's monounsaturated fat. It's not a polyunsaturated like 3 and 6. So 3 and 6 are essential. You must eat them. Omega-9, non-essential. But it's in things like avocados and stuff. But there's no real benefit to eating that. 6 is actually very pro-inflammatory, believe it or not. The animal version much more so. Arachidonic acid. You really want the... what is the short chain version called? You got alpha linoleic acid, which is omega-3. Is it just linoleic acid? I mean, LA. It's LA anyway, is the abbreviation. So that's not as pro-inflammatory as ALA, as the long chain version. So fish get the long chain omega-3, the EPA, the DHA from eating algae. So as a vegan, you can take an algae supplement, which gives you the exact same thing, except that it's not been filtered through the body of a creature that lives in the sewers of mankind. You know, the oceans, all of our crap, pharmaceuticals, environmental pollution, like heavy metals, pesticides, runoff, dioxins, PCBs, all ends up in the ocean, and it biomagnifies up the food chain. So it gets exponentially, like orders of magnitude worse. The least is in plant foods, in seaweeds. I eat a little seaweed. You know, it's got a little bit of contamination in there, but there's so much goodness. Relatively speaking, so little contamination that the net result is a positive outcome. But then, you know, tiny fish eat these plants for their whole lives. Small fish eat these tiny fish for their whole lives. Medium fish, larger fish, monstrous fish. And it's a lifetime of toxins biomagnifying up the food chain into each creature. So by the time you get to the types of fish where we take the oil from, which are large, like predatory animals, you know, there's a shit ton of toxins in there. Microplastics as well, which accumulate in the flesh of the fish. I think your average fish eater apparently has something like 11,000 microplastics in them per year that they get from the fish, is the stat. It all biomagnifies up the food chain, and where does it store? Where do toxins store in the animals' bodies, in the human body? Toxins store in animals and humans' fat. They store in the fat. Was fish fat called fish oil? So it's really quite ludicrous to take tons of fish oil. There is some good stuff in there, the DHA, but there's also a lot of nasty stuff which has biomagnified, not just bioaccumulated, but orders of magnitude more, like 10x, maybe something like that. I don't know the exact figures, but you get the idea. Every time you go up a level in the food chain. So yeah, it's a daft thing to do, is to eat fish or fish oil. You know, masses of toxins, very little antioxidants. Like plant products on average have 64 times the antioxidants of fish. So you're not even like offsetting the damage. A lot more nutritious. There's no fiber in animals. We need like lots of fiber to live long, happy, healthy lives. So yeah, we don't need to eat them. And yeah, nuts, seeds, whole nut and seed butters, avocados, plenty of essential fatty acids. Windwaker, last time you said you don't eat fermented products because too salty, no salt in the fermented cashews. Yeah, I mean, if you know a company that makes them or you make them yourself, yeah, I've not seen it before, quite simply. So, you know, most sauerkraut, kimchi, all that stuff, it is highly salted. But yeah, if you find them without or you can make your own, fantastic. Oh, well, I'm miles behind. Hi, Angel. Good to see you. I'm sorry to hear that you're stressed, and it is very good to see you, my lovely. Antonio, coconut milk, like the ones next to Almond Soy Supermarket, is also bad for us. Yeah, long and very long chain triglycerides, not attached to fibre, raise the risk for heart disease. It's the only critical risk factor for that. It's an elevated serum LDL and those types of fat. I wouldn't be messing with them. There's probably an amount that you can drink and get away with it, but I don't know where that would be. It would be a very low amount, most likely, I would expect. So yeah, animal products, coconut products. Apparently a little flesh you can probably get away with, like a lot better. Palm oil, palm kernel oil, cocoa butter, these types of fats. You need them so low. If they're low enough, below about 50 milligrams per deciliter serum, like in the blood, you're probably coronary heart disease proof, according to the plant-based doctors. Nice, Joe. Jamet's here. Blood pressure much improved with meditation. Colic. What's that? Mandarin's daily walk. Thanks for your best wishes. You're very welcome. I'm glad you're doing well. Cells. Hello, hench person. Perhaps interested in veganism for longevity, mainly to avoid heart disease. Is there a question there? Sorry, I don't know if you've got a question there, but do feel free to elaborate. But yeah, so veganism, of course, is a code of ethics. Specifically, if you're worrying about health, so that speaks more to the nutrition. So that's like a whole foods. You can either call it a whole foods plant-based diet or whole foods vegan diet. Either is correct, but some people will get the ass, and I'm talking about vegans here, will get the ass with you if you say you're eating a vegan diet, and then like say you're wearing leather or you go to the zoo or you're doing it only for health concerns. You don't give a shit about the animals. Technically, like that's not being vegan. So that's whether you care about that or not. Matters very little to me, but that's just a little point just for you to know. Yeah. Sam, have you heard of Blissful Athlete? No, he's a vegan bodybuilder, very jacked, went vegan 365 days, no cold, no solid foods, vegan, no solid foods. Why would someone do that? That's very interesting though. Is he on the tubes, Sam? Stephanie Bock in the hizzy. Big Spoon, big to see you. Sorry, I didn't really advertise it tonight. That was a last minute whim that I came on. The God, you sound important. What do you say to someone who says I cannot be vegan because I need amino acids? You say stop being a bellend who is confused by a issue of Vogue magazine that came out in February 1975, where they said that plant foods do not contain all essential amino acids. You need to protein combine it each meal. That was disproven decades ago. So I would say, get your bloody data up to date. You're decades out, son. I would then show him the Chronometer app. I'd invite them to type in any whole plant food. Like lemons. I mean, you're not going to eat 1,000 lemons. Show them lemons. Show them protein. So there's 20 amino acids. There's only 9 that are essential. And there's this 9 here. So if you ate 1,000 lemons, you'd actually have 440 grams of protein, which is 9 times the RDA. I'm not saying that anyone would eat 1,000 lemons. That would probably be a very stupid thing to do. But anyway, essential amino acids. They're all there. Well, tell me which one is missing. All whole foods contain all essential, and in fact, all amino acids in general, they contain all of them. And so, yeah, they are decades out. I would say get with the times, you absolute fool, is what I would say. Oh, sorry. Wrong button. But what great question, the God, and thank you. And yeah, I am very well, my friend. Hope you're well too. Joe, yeah, on Whole Foods you have to be much smarter if you don't want to use protein powder or money for it. But tofu, tempeh, legumes, high protein grains, seeds will do it exactly. I will add that tofu is not tofu and tempeh are not whole foods, but again, tofu. That's in terms of if you consider a whole food, nothing bad added, nothing good taken out. It's had some good stuff taken out. You've lost some fibre, you lost maybe half the minerals, but you've got a lot of good stuff in there. And I don't see that as too unhealthy on the scheme of things. If that's the only thing you have and that's not whole plant foods, I think you're going to be all right. It's not particularly unhealthy. It's just not as healthy as the legumes that you're displacing. Tempeh actually is a whole food. In fact, it's 2 whole foods. It's mycelium, which is the root of mushrooms. So it's some fungi. So it's not even plant-based. It's fungi or fungi-based. You can pronounce that how you want, by the way, because Latin is a written language, and we have no way of knowing how they pronounce that. But that's an aside. Yeah, so tempeh's fermented. You got so you've got some unique myconutrients, MYCO, myconutrients. I don't even know if that word's really made it into the dictionary yet, but just nutrients that are unique to mushrooms, fungi. There's some like ergothioneine, which has 100 times the intramyocondial antioxidants. So antioxidants actually get inside the little motors of our cells, could potentially be anti-aging. I mean, I think the mitochondrial theory of aging is sort of, people are sort of questioning it a bit more now, but it can't hurt. It really can't hurt. It's some good stuff. But yeah, I see that as very healthy, Joe. That's exactly how I eat. Big spoon. I want a payday to hurry up so I can make everything in your Speedy Vegan cookbook. Thank you. And just for your information, guys, the Speedy Vegan is also in our course now. So if you want to buy our course with 14 videos, got the 3 cookbooks, got masses of downloadable printable PDFs, including a complete nutrition guide for all ages, stages of life. So that's available if you want. No extra cost. Money bags. Just thanks for answering my questions. Just wondering, with ice cream, do you have to worry about sugar and fruit in your ice cream? You're very welcome. No sugar attached to fibre with the like phytochemicals, plant nutrients, is extremely healthy. In fact, the Global Burden of Disease study 1 year found that the best thing people could do to increase their longevity, the number one thing they found was to eat more fruit. So fruit, as I say, sugar in the fruit attached to fibre with all the polyphenols. You know, that's a whole food. It comes as a unit with other stuff, and it's wonderful. It makes us live longer and happier and healthier. Now, if you like extract units out of there, like if you refine sugar, if you refine oils, you know, if you get large amounts of calcium, large amounts of, say, retinol out of a food, you know, they could harm you. But in the amounts in foods, you know, that's something very, very different. So whole food. Don't think of sugar. Think of refined processed sugar, and think of whole fruit with the sugar inside attached to the fibre. Do you see what I mean? It's a different animal. It's a whole thing that is very healthy versus an isolated nutrient which causes damage when it's taken in its individual form. Sergeant Dan, payday tomorrow for me. Very nice. Leia Pasquina, what a lovely name. Hi everyone. Paul, do you have any experience with clients with type 1 diabetes? Not type 1, type 2, we've seen reversed. I think you can mitigate type 1 to a degree though. How to manage it with healthy plant-based diet? If not, would you recommend some sources in this? Yeah, so Dr. Neil Barnard's program for reversing diabetes. And then there's these guys. What are their names? Are they called Mastering Diabetes? Someone Kambata. There's 2 guys. You might look them up on Instagram, Mastering Diabetes. And they've often been on the PCRM's Exam Room podcast. You can see that on YouTube or download it as a podcast. And they have fantastic information. And at the very least, you will be able to like lower your insulin for certain, at the very least. I think it's quite low fat, lower GI foods. And you should be able to lower your insulin quite nicely. Big Spoon Bear, I've built more muscle from a vegan diet than when I ate animal products. Yeah, very possibly. Dan's made the cashew mayo and it's amazing. It's so good, isn't it? Yeah, very good. Jay Sales, what's your opinion on fasting for autophagy aspect mainly? Yeah, that's my understanding. So when you got tons of calories coming in, tons of protein, your body is in like build mode, and it can, like if things are going a bit wrong, it can accidentally build, you got an abundance of like amino acids, potentially it could start building, if the code's going a bit wrong, start building some cancer cells for you. So autophagy is like cell eating, isn't it? So it's like gone into a kind of scavenge and repair mode. What is it called? It's called hormesis. And so yeah, there's the autophagy. There's also, I'm not very technical, it's to do with sirtuins, and basically you're like your DNA damage. Without so many calories coming in, loads of protein, your body kind of hunkers down, turns inwards, and can start to repair some of this DNA damage, so that the the cells don't start to become like potentially cancerous. So your autophagy, but also this I don't know the phrase for it, but yeah, it's very anti-cancer though, very anti-cancer. It's the idea that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I think that's what hormesis refers to. So, for instance, like when you get your I'm so hot. I'm going to take my top off. Sorry. When you buy your produce, growers try to have the perfect conditions for the fruits, for the vegetables, but then it turns out that they're not so nutritious as like some produce that's had a bit of a hard time of it. It's been out in the sun a bit too much, or not watered enough, or there's this one grower of oranges. Apparently, towards the time he's going to harvest, he drives nails into the tree trunks of the orange trees. And this has the effect of, it's the hormesis thing, like it's like you're attacking the plant, and the plant does things to benefit, so it will produce more polyphenols. So consequently, when you get the oranges, they've got more polyphenols in there. They're much more protective of our cells as well. So we kind of hijack them. So ideally, you don't want the best looking fruit and veg. You want stuff that's looking a little withered, like it's not had the optimal growing conditions. Or someone's gone along and knocked nails in the tree trunk in the case of fruit and stuff. Yeah, so hormesis, that's a really interesting field to look up. I would like to get more into it, really. I'm not sure why the god is saying flaxseed powder, but it's a great thing. Leia, the diabetes question is for my husband. I'm physically healthy, but I'm beating an eating disorder. Bless you. And I have been obsessed lately. How to get all the right nutrients from a whole foods, plant-based diet. That's not a bad thing to obsess over. I mean, obsess is a strong word, isn't it? And it does deserve some caution. However, people call me a health freak, and I say, well, what's the alternative? Are you a death freak? Like, I just want to make sure I'm getting my bare minimum of essential vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids. If we don't have this bare minimum, A, we're not going to feel our best, and B, if they're low enough for long enough, you're going to get disease and potentially die. They can all kill you if you don't have enough for long enough. It's not too difficult, really. I think eat a whole foods plant-based diet, eat enough calories, and eat the range. Legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. Vitamin D supplement if you're not getting sun. Vitamin B12 because we're not drinking dirty, untreated water. It comes from a bacteria. Ground flax, ground chia, you can consider a DHA supplement if you wish. I think that's worth adding in as well, but it's not necessary for most people unless you've got some kind of genetic defect or something going on. But it's cheap enough, so I say, why not? There may be benefits as well to some direct DHA. If you want my recommendation for the best products, code HENCH10 Vivo Life products down below. They do all the essentials, so that's very good. Also, our course, our online course, has a nutrition chart for all ages, all stages of life, for every single nutrient. So that's well worth a look. And of course, we tell you how to make sure you can get them all in your diet as well. James Rogers, do you recommend psychedelics for the layman? Yeah, this is a long one, isn't it? So a lot of people's idea of psychedelics is drug, bad, you're going to jump out the window and kill yourself. Well, a lot of this stuff is kind of US government propaganda from years ago because people were using like, I don't know, LSD, psilocybin mushrooms. They were having wonderful spiritual experiences. And they were realizing, why do I want to go to another country and kill people that I've got more in common with than the person who's telling me to do it? So I can make them rich. And you kind of like see the matrix. So, you know, in recent years, we've been doing a lot of studying of psychedelics for the treatment of treatment-resistant depression, PTSD, what's the phrase? Addictions, stuff like that. And in fact, so there's, I think now 60 major institutes around the world, NYU, UCLA, Johns Hopkins, Imperial College London, actually with the use of counsellors. I think they typically have a male and a female counsellor, and you have these psychedelics experiences in clinic under safely, you're being watched, and they're counselling you. And it's like counselling on steroids, basically. It undoes like past traumas like nobody's business. The thing is, you know, you can abuse these things, and if you don't know what you're doing, and even if you do know what you're doing, you can have some really terrifying times. And so for that's the layman thing I have a problem with, really. So there's certain people who are contraindicated. I think if you've got red-green colour blindness, you shouldn't be doing, because it'll mess your sight up. You won't be able to see for days. You get those traces. You know where you like look past the light and you see that trail? They get stuck in your eyes for days, apparently. You basically go blind. So it's contraindicated for that. Some mental disorders, schizophrenia. Under 25s, like because our brains are not like fully formed, it can mess up with apparently the formation of the brain. So they are very powerful. I'm not going to recommend them for like everyone, because there's contraindications. You need, you know, ideally, I think you'd be in these clinical settings, or at the very least, like you'd be with an experienced, say, a shaman or a close friend who is experienced, who knows, and they would sit you, you know, they would watch over you and make sure that they were keeping you safe. So, but it's unlikely you would do something stupid. If anything, you just get a bit paranoid and like hide up. And of course, some visions, some trips, you can have the most wonderful experience, like total joy and bliss, potentially out-of-body experiences where you blast around the universe, speak with deities and aliens and I don't know what, supposedly. At the same time, like you can have the most terrifying, like your biggest fears like can come up. Basically, it's a way of undoing like past trauma, and most people run from their traumas. And they're still in there, like affecting them. Something mostly from childhood, still messing with you when you're like a 90-year-old and holding you back like your whole life. And the careful use of these compounds under the right circumstances, set and setting, so mindset, like your brain going in, you don't want to be in a bad space going into it. You certainly don't want to be like particularly worrying that, oh, we're going to have a bad time of it. As it's coming on and it's sort of your body accelerates, your heart rate goes up. And if you think, oh, I'm scared, I want it to stop. No, that's the last thing you want to do. You actually need to breathe into it and accept it. If you try to fight it, like you're going to have a hard time. You need to go. You need to be brave and go with it. But anyway, yeah, you need an experienced sitter, I think. And the right mindset. And yeah, I think they are like counselling on steroids. I think you could do like 10 years worth of counselling in one good set. If you're lucky enough to have a bad trip. So where they're studying, where they're doing these the trips with where you've got counsellors and you've got people guiding you, they're actually they don't call it a bad trip. They call it a challenging trip. And they say that's actually what you want. And your face, instead of resisting like your things, like instead of running away from him, ignoring him, throwing yourself into your work, using drugs, alcohol to escape them, instead you're actually facing them head on. And that's bloody scary. It can be, but you can come out of that and you can have cured like whatever that was, or you can be on your way to curing it, with a counsellor, like you're talking it out. So recommend is a strong word, but I can say, James, that they are hugely powerful, and I think there's going to be some massive advancements. And, well, I mean, already, like I say, there's those 60 major institutes studying them. Recently, Johns Hopkins got awarded another $90 million from the US government to carry on the studies, because it's so efficacious for past trauma, for PTSD, and addiction and things. So, yeah, very exciting, but not without perils. So, just because I say they're good, don't take that as your excuse to just go and do them, and then you have a horrible time. For me, so, I've been quite straight with everyone on this channel. Me and Gemma used to take a lot of sort of party drugs. We kind of swore off all that, became kind of teetotalers, because we saw like this is not a good route. But then we heard about psychedelics being so good for personal development, for, past trauma, like to have spiritual experiences, to gain more insight, to like understand yourself and to be able to function better in the world. But we did it with a lot of trepidation. We did a hell of a lot of research, and we made sure that we were doing it as safely as can be done. Okay. Right, I think I'm miles behind. I think I'm miles behind, guys. I think I better skip for... Is it 8:45? Have we been going for like 45 minutes? No. These go so bloody quick. Okay, guys, I'm gonna skip forwards, because if not, I'll be so far behind, people get fed up. If I miss your comment or question, pop it in the chat quick, and hopefully I'll get to it this time. Where should I go? Jay sells Hench. Why the legality to buy spores? I don't really know. I mean, I don't know why any of it's illegal, really. I don't know why any of it should be illegal. It's natural. We have receptors in our bodies, like we're designed to, well, designed is probably a strong word, but our bodies can interact with them, and people find them very beneficial. But of course, we just need some sanity, you need to be informed and not just be messing with things. Very funny, Race, and good to see you. Did you just power down, cowboy? Did you power down? Jay Sells, there's a bad trip and a nightmare trip. See, I've been very well. Is it lucky though? Is it better to have these experiences? But all my experiences have been just amazing. I mean, I felt some negative emotions. I had to relive like horrible shit that I did to other people. But to be honest, it was very cathartic, and I was very grateful for the opportunity. And it just really reiterated to me, like, don't treat people badly. Like, it's not nice. I had to like relive things like through their perspective, and yeah, but I was grateful. I was crying. I felt like just my world come crashing down, and just incredible sorrow, and I just crying like a river. But like at the same time, I knew what was happening. Like I knew, this is not how I'm going to stay feeling. This is going to be very temporary, and yeah, I'm seeing, like I'm getting some truth, and I'm getting shown that I've not always been the best person, and how and why I should definitely keep doing the right thing going forwards. Yeah, it was strangely it was a strangely like almost nice experience, which sounds odd. I'd already decided to myself to not treat people badly anymore, and yeah, it just like really hammered home why, and I thought it was good. I thought it was right that I felt what I'd like dished out, and yeah, it's a funny one, but I was really grateful. But yeah, but the vast majority of it, of my trips, have been very euphoric and just gaining so much insight and just joy, and curing my migraines, which was the actual reason I initially did it all. Joe, in the past year I've been spiritually awakened, I guess. Like you could say so if I did them. No, it would be easier to sit with it, probably feel worse, but easier to face it and let it pass. Very possible. I think that's one thing where I've been, where I've benefited, because I've had a lot of growth even before, like without it, like just realising my past like ills I did, and understanding why, and actually finding it possible to forgive myself for those things, because we're all doing our best from our current level of ability. Even like the biggest a-hole, like what made him that way? Do you know what I mean? And I know exactly what you're saying there, Jake. Big spoon. When I had one, I looked like a giant pez. That's very funny. Jay Sales, you don't want the nightmares. No, you probably don't. Race. I was on stripping and my left hand could freeze things and shoot cold lasers to freeze things, and my right hand could donate the same with fire and heat. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. You wouldn't need a thermos flask, eh? Big spoon. MDMA was an interesting one. Used to do that a lot. Made me chatty and loved up. Yeah, I was a huge fan. And in fact, they are using MDMA as well at some of these institutions where they're, particularly for like couples therapy, apparently, which kind of makes sense. I think these things are okay as long as you're not contraindicated. You're in a good space, and you're not overdoing them. Thomas. How's the house move going? So we're moving on Tuesday next week, but to be honest, Gemma's mostly been doing all the things. She's been working really hard, packing what we can pack, cleaning, spot painting and things. She's been working really hard, bless her. Pardon me. I think we're nearly there now in terms of what we can do. Obviously you need some things to be able to use them, so we can't pack them just yet. So, So it seems to be going good. Thanks for axing. Jeff, since extra calories cause oxidation, do you plan on eating less than 2,500 calories in the future? Not really. I want to try to keep my sort of bodybuilding physique for as long as possible. It's not optimal for health, but... unfortunately have been bitten by the bodybuilding bug, and also I think it's the best way for me to advocate for like animals, and I think I owe it to him. So I'm taking one for the team, you could say. Leo, I'm planning to do some real prepping soon. Do you have any simple recipes, ingredients for bulking? The best thing really, Leo, I would say would be to look at the channel. That I've got whole lists of meal prep videos, what I eat in a day videos, recipe videos. We've even got a cookbook called Where Do You Get Your Protein? But really it's lots of legumes, lots of whole grains, a bit of nuts and seeds, whole nut and seed butters, avocado, some fruit and veg. Fruit-wise, probably tropical and dried fruits because they're more calorically dense. If you're really bulking and you're struggling to get the food in, you're not going to be able to eat much in the way of like apples and, loads of leafy greens. Of course, you need your minimum of healthy leafy greens and, some yellow, orange, red produce for the carotenoids, that kind of thing. But you don't want to be making that the bulk of your diet. You want the more calorically dense foods. Super chat. Bjorn with the 30 knocks. Thank you, my friendly neighbourhood Viking. No question. Just supporting his local neighbourhood vegan YouTuber. How are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you. General Langley. I'm very good. How are you, lovely? Thanks for joining. Artist. Cowboy, the cat, is doing flipping amazing. As always, she's absolutely crackers. We're going to get her a little backpack. Well, we're going to get me a backpack with that you can put cats in. And yeah, so like we'll be in the city centre, so we'll be able to take her to the vets. We'll be able to walk there, and we're thinking we'll like take her around with us a little bit as long as she's not too scared. Maybe we'll get a little harness for her and try to walk her a little bit in the park, or whatever. Like as long as, you know, obviously we don't let any dogs come near her or stuff, but she'll be scared like when the wind kind of blows or if it's noisy. She's quite a nervy cat, so I'm not sure how it's going to go really, but yeah, she's doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. Califrax, Hench, are you an anti-natalist? Is that to do with abortion and all that malarkey? If so, I've got no opinion on it. It's not something I've ever had to look into, and I don't think it's my business what other people do with their bodies, in all honesty. Thanks, Race. I would be a good mum. Right, 5 more minutes, guys. 5 more minutes, and I better actually wind down for bed because it's getting quite late for me. I feel like I'm too happy. I'm too energized, enjoying myself. Big Spoon, bring in the rain on streams, felt like it was raining colours. Very good. Tom, as far as health is concerned, without talking about animal cruelty, what would be the health concerns of eating egg whites for bodybuilding purposes? No fibre, very low in nutrition. Well, you got some protein in there. You can get protein from whole foods. So it's mostly in terms of a lack of nutrients, a lack of fibre. The more fibre we consume, the lower our risk for stroke, all-cause mortality, like comes down, blood pressure. Yeah, just very low in nutrients, and it's just high in just animal protein. So it's going to feed pathogenic gut bacteria, the so-called Bacteroides strains, rather than the Prevotella strains that are health-promoting. That you know, they create vitamins, they train the immune system, they create short-chain fatty acids, which are the bedrock of our health potential. So basically, 1% of the genes which control our health outcome, our life expectancy, or disease risk, or longevity, or not just our health lifespan, but our health span. 1% of the genes that are responsible for that belong to us. They're human genes. 99% of the genes that determine your health potential belong to the bacteria that you invite to live in your gut, predicated on the foods you eat. If you're eating animal products, you're going to get the Bacteroides types. There's hundreds of different strains, but they all do horrible things in the body. They're pathogenic. So they just raise your risk for disease, like shorten your life. Whereas the Prevotella strains that eat soluble fibre, resistant starch, and benefit from polyphenols, they're the healthy ones that tell your body like to live longer, that instruct the body, the metabolic processes. 99% of your health potential is down to your gut bugs. Do you want the ones that eat eggs that shorten your life, or do you want the ones that eat whole plant foods with the soluble fibre, resistant starch and polyphenols, which extend your life, which extend your health, which are anti-cancer, anti-disease, anti-dementia? That's number one, I would say. Our health potential, really, the last probably 18 or so years now, biggest advancements into nutritional science has been relative to the gut microbiome. That's number one, I think. It's, the gut is our interface with the outside world. It's and that's where all the cool shit happens. It's our health potential. It's the linchpin. It's like the cornerstone of our lifespan, our health span, as I say. Oh, and what can you get in an egg that you like 8 grams of protein or whatever? Like you could have eaten some tofu or some beans, got fibre, got folate, you know, got much more in the way of minerals, vitamins. Yeah. Sebastian, hope your move goes smoothly. Been a bit busy with new house, but glad to pop by for us. It's good to see you, my friend. You're always commenting on things. Amen, J Cells. Race henches make me want to get some shrooms. I cannot confirm nor deny whether that makes me feel quite good in a way. But as long as you've done your blinking research. Nelly, hey Hench, hey lovely. Will I be able to do pull-ups on my own if I do assisted pull-ups at the gym? I use assisted pull-up and dip machine. You tell me. You tell me. Have you got like nearly your whole body weight on the assist, like minus 1 kilo, or are you doing 99% of your body weight? And do you know what I mean? It all depends. Check out my video. Hang on. I did a video all about pull-ups at home. Boop. Yes. Was it food time, cowboy? Yeah. Little cutie. Yeah, so here's my home workout advice. But yeah, simply, if you're not using much help and you're getting loads of reps, you'll be able to do ones at home. And if you're getting tons of help, you probably won't be able to do one. Yeah. Thanks, Wind Waker. J Cells, vegan gains. Is he really vegan? Discuss. That's an easy one. He says that we should kill animals. So he's not vegan because it's not vegan to purposefully kill animals. So that's a pretty easy one. Sven, olive oil has been part of our diet for many years. Has it? On the scale of things, if you look at how long evolution takes to take place, hundreds of thousands, millions of years. If you looked at the time humans have been on Earth, if you put that on a 24-hour clock, olive oil has been around for about a nanosecond. How come you advise to stay away from it? Not saying you're wrong, just wondering why that is. No, you're welcome to wonder, and you're welcome to say I'm wrong. And who am I? I could be wrong. There's certainly like benefits to olive oil over like a lot of other foods. Like it's not as unhealthy as coconut oil. It's not as unhealthy as animal fat. Good luck getting extra virgin olive oil. If you look at, there was a study done a while back. It's on nutritionfacts.org. And they sampled extra virgin olive oil. And more often than not, the ones they sampled were contaminated with things other than extra virgin olive oil, so like chemical extraction like olive oil and stuff. And then they thought, well, let's just look at the real big brands like Filippo Berio and Bertolli, like all these like big import brands. And it was about 75, I think it was 73% of them were contaminated with stuff that wasn't extra virgin olive oil. So good luck getting extra virgin. If you do, I think if you had a couple of tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, uncooked, in the context of an otherwise whole foods, plant-based diet, it probably wouldn't be too bad. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to kill you. You may get away with more. But what I'm saying is it's not optimal. It's not going to be as good as the whole food that you've displaced. And, you know, it's no fibre. It's got palmitic acid, so it's about 14% saturates by weight. You don't need many of those types of saturates before you start raising the risk for heart disease. It's just not real food. There's no oil in nature. There's no juice in nature. Juice and oils are shown to be detrimental in different ways. When you cook with oils, you create more oxygen-free radicals, you create more acrylamides, you create more advanced glycation end products. You know, these are all like unhealthy compounds. There's very little nutrition. Most of the nutrition from the olives goes down the drain in the water that they press off to keep just the fats. Most nutrients are water soluble. There's a couple of fat soluble. You've got like vitamin E, like a tiny fraction of the polyphenols. But it's nothing like whole plant food. And the trouble is, like Sven, we've not done the data. We can't show categorically what's going to happen. What we need is hundreds of thousands of whole foods plant-based vegans and hundreds of thousands of whole foods plant-based vegans who have extra virgin olive oil as well in their diet. And then we look at over a lifetime, like what was actually the outcome. We don't know because the science has not been done. It'll probably never be done. But what we can infer is There's no fibre. There's a fraction of the nutrients. It's too many calories for most people. I don't know many people that have oil in their diet that are lean. You know, it's so many calories for virtually nothing. It just coats the bottom of your stomach. You've got hundreds of calories in there. Versus if you were to eat fruit and veg, you would be full on that amount of calories. You know, so, you know, for a child, for a bodybuilder, maybe it would be benefit to add in some oil. For your average person on the street, yeah. So there's the overweight issue. It paralyzes both the epithelium and endothelium. So if you have a lot of oil, you'll feel like you've swallowed a brick, like in your guts. You'll feel like heavy, like laid down. So your endothelium's not performing peristalsis, like the smooth muscles, not pushing the food along as it should. So you can get like quite constipated. And the same thing happens to the smooth muscle inside your endothelium, inside your blood vessels. You know, again, people don't realise it's smooth muscle. It undulates. The peristalsis like helps to move the blood around. It's not just the contraction of the heart. If I sat here long enough, I will tell you about 15 reasons why. I'm not saying like a little bit's going to like absolutely kill you, but there are negatives. And there's a lot healthier things that it's not only the negatives, but you're displacing healthier foods with positives. So, and just because we've eaten something for a length of time, we've eaten meat since like year dot. Are you going to tell me meat's a health food? We've eaten refined sugar for a lot of years, relatively speaking. We've hardly been eating it for long at all. Is that healthy because we've been eating it? No, that's a fallacy. What's some other negatives of, say, olive oil? I don't know. I think that's a fair few, really, that I've just come out with. Yeah, let's leave that. Anyway, great question, Sven. And I don't mind you asking one little bit. And do you know what I mean? People have a difference of opinion. And sometimes I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, if I learn that I'm wrong, I will change my tack. But it's really, you know, so you're saying it in a different way. Most people say, is it healthy or unhealthy? And healthy or unhealthy, compared to what is the point? And so where it appears to be healthier is in people with who've taken butter out of the diet and put olive oil in instead. They're going to have benefits to their heart health, relatively speaking, but it's still not going to be as good, I don't think, as a whole foods plant-based eater. Unless it's very little in the way of oil. Super chat. What's going on here? Jay Searles very generously donated 10 US bucks. He's not even got a question. He's not, or she. I don't even know if you're a boy or. Can I see your avatar there? Oh, it's a boy one. He looks like he's as handsome as all hell, and he's got muscle. He's got gains for days. He must be one of them vegans. No question. He's just supporting his local neighbourhood vegan YouTuber out of the kindness of his heart. Thank you so much, brother. How are you doing, Gemma?
What do you mean? I just settled down.
What are you up to? Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. Which feels strange to say.
I feel like I should probably come and do something. I'm really fired up and having a lovely time.
Aww.
But I need to come off soon or I'm not going to wind down in time for bed, am I?
That's true.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sign off, guys, because I don't want to not sleep very well. Yeah. I better wind down and then go and get a good night's sleep. I think sleep is probably more important than diet. Sleep is huge, so don't skimp on your sleep. So as much as it pains me, I'm having a lovely time. I feel like I could stay on another hour or two. I'm really enjoying it. But I'm going to make sure, because I normally want to be asleep by 10 p.m. and it's now 10 past 9. So thanks, moderators, for keeping us troll-free. Thanks for the generous super chats tonight, keeping the beans on our toast, the wolves from the door, and the cameras rolling. What else? If you want to optimize your health, your body shape, your sports performance, download my free vegan nutrition e-guide. It's a complete overview, everything you need to know to thrive, to not F it up and become one of those pesky ex-vegans. Our new Speedy Vegan Cookbook is out now. It's finally out. 30 mouth-watering meals. You can do all the prep in 15 minutes or less for the dishes, and you get multiple servings, so really saves a lot of time. So Speedy Vegan, if you know, one of the biggest objections is that I don't have time to cook healthy food. Yes, you do. You just need to buy our Speedy Vegan Cookbook at a low fee. Link in the description, /give us your money. That's also in our course now. If you want to check out our online course, link below for that as well. I think that's it. We're back Friday night, 7 p.m. GMT, me and the little lady. Actually, it'll just be me, won't it, Jim?
Yeah, probably.
Actually, it'll just be me again, I'm sorry, until we move into our new house on Tuesday. So, oh yeah, check out my new video. It's a well good one. Hang on, I'll get it up. Wow, it's on 1,000 views already. My vlogs had been doing progressively worse over time, but I really pulled out all the stops for this one, and this is showing us doing a little bit better. So please give that some love if you want to, or even if you don't. Nice. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I love you very much. What was it? I was going to do a Debunk Veganism if you can stream, but we didn't have any trolls in. Not one. So I suppose that's quite nice in a way, but it didn't get me to flex my vegan knowledge. So maybe next time. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Love you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and hope to see you Friday if you're about. Bye for now.